Well, I feel like the best way to start this interview is to ask you what is something you remember most about your grandmother's hands, or what is your favorite thing about being a grandmother that you do with your hands with your grandkids?
What I remember most about my grandmother's hands, I actually lived in a multi-generational house until I was 11. So I grew up around my grandmother, my dad's mother. And what I remember about her hands, they were very strong. She was a kind of heavy woman, you know what I mean, with a very quiet demeanor. And I remember her hands being very strong. She wasn't the type to comb your hair or do stuff like I do with my granddaughter, but she had a presence about her. And she always had the Bible, you know what I mean? Um, so I remember her holding the Bible all the time. I remember sitting in the window of the dining room when I was a kid, looking out and her telling me Bible stories. You know what I mean? Some of them were scary, but that's what I remember about her hands. She had very strong hands. Uh, she was always had the Bible with her and her presence. My granddaughter was born. I only have one, Lily, who was born 6 months after my husband passed, and it was the bittersweet. And I still miss him to this day. I mean, that we were great friends, and it was the bittersweet of losing him and the joy of having her all in a 6 months period of time. She is just, she brings so much light to our family. She is, has a similar smile to her grandfather's that always remind you of him. But it's just brought so much joy to me. It's brought joy to the family. She has been such a light, you know what I mean, during these times.
So now you think about your husband, Mr. Bill, and I'm sorry, for your loss as well, because
Yes, thank
this
you.
icon to the world, and then I can only imagine behind closed doors as your husband and your best
Yeah.
friend. So to honor him and an iconic song in this way, why was that important to you?
His grandmother, who played such an integral part in his life. Um, just think about it. Here he is, a 30-year-old man making his first album and, wanting to make his mark and make his statement in the world. And, of course, I didn't know him at that time. We met a few years later, but he chose to put a story about his grandmother on his first album. He wrote that song based on his memories because she passed away when he was 15. And she was such a strong figure in his life, a gentle woman who was a pillar in the community and respected in the community and, just loved. She was loved. And he chose a grown man, I had been out in the world, the Navy 9 years, you know, had a life, and he chose to talk about that. He expressed that that was one of his favorite songs that he had written. So when this young, or younger, I should say, publisher came to us, um, sent us his book back in, I guess it was 2018, 18 or 19. He sent us his book, Frankie Finds the Blues. His name is Joel Harper. His older brother is Ben Harper, the musician. He sent us this book, Frankie Finds the Blues, about a young boy whose grandmother introduces him to the blues. She took him to his first blues concert. And it was kind of biographical. Joel had a very close relationship with his grandmother. So he sent us this book and he wanted to share it because of Bill's song. And about a year later, he says, have you ever thought about Grandma's Hands being a children's book? And we were like, wow, yes. Yes, that's a wonderful idea. We hadn't, we weren't in the book business, but it was a wonderful idea. And Bill liked the idea of doing it. And of course, COVID, he passed away. He didn't pass away from COVID, but he passed away. COVID hit, and it took a while for us to get back to it. But I was determined with my daughter and to bring this book to life through another art form, not just the music, through actual visual art. And we were lucky to have a sensitive person like Joe Harper, who brought this fabulous illustrator, Gregory Christie. He's down in Atlanta, but he had the sensitivity to interpret the song. You know, we sent him pictures of the grandmother. We only had two, and we sent him, you know, pictures of Bill and his father and all that, and he was able to interpret visually what the song was saying about Bill's grandmother.
Were y'all both kind of blown away when this song was also featured in Medea's family reunion? Or what was the feeling? Like, you know, this is random, or was it like, what an honor?
Well, you know, they have to approve stuff. Stuff comes through us. We knew it was going to be in there. And Tyler Perry is just a really special, talented guy. You know what I mean? And you know, his characters and what he's done, you know, in his life and creatively for other people has just, you know, he had to be just so proud of that. So yeah, when that came, yes, I mean, yes, we were happy to agree, you know, for the song to be in the film. People have covered it. We have some wonderful people who have sung the song, like Mavis Staples and Willie Nelson. You know, Gladys Knight covered it. You know, the song has had some legs. You know what I'm saying? But we want to keep that. We want to honor our grandmothers. We want to honor being a grandmother, and we want to keep this song alive, and that's what our whole purpose is, to honor grandmothers because they have been so important in people's lives.